Hello, book connectors. Welcome back to the Book Connection. I am your host, Blue-Eyed Black Devil. And visitors, if you happen upon the channel, feel free to join us. We'd love to have you here. Well, hello there once again, my beautiful book connectors. I am your host, Blue-Eyed Black Devil, and this time I am back with another feature of my About the Author segment. So, in reading circles, I have always heard of this person I'm featuring, but I have yet to read anything written by this person. I have them on my wish list or to read lists, but I haven't tackled them because I don't know. I'm afraid that it may be the subject matter may be grittier, grimier, dirtier than I I care to really read. But although this person has been gone for quite some time now, I know that this person is still highly respected in the reading communities that I am in, or even when I see book reviews and stuff. This person is still highly favored. So I think my aunt told me she read one of his books, and that was about as far as she could go. The person I am speaking of is Mr. Donald Goines. So, book connectors, just sit back and listen. Okay, so Donald Joseph Goines was born on December 15th, 1936. Some sources say Chicago, Illinois as his birthplace, but most of the sources said Detroit, Michigan. He was the middle child and the only son born to parents Donald Joseph Goines Sr. and Myrtle Goines. Now, his parents were what stood out to them back then at this particular time is the fact that they were a black middle class family. They they were Catholics, and I assume the children were reared in their faith. According to his mother, Myrtle, she said that they were descendants of Jefferson Davis and some woman he had enslaved. And I guess that accounts for their lighter skin complexion among black people. But they had their own business, and it was a laundry business or dry cleaning business. This is what his parents did. This stood out, especially back then in those times. It was rare that you found a black family who had a legitimate business. Like I said, Donald was the middle child and the only son born to this black couple. Now, at age 15, for whatever reason, Donald lied about his age so that he could join the armed forces. Now, while he was in the military, he became addicted to heroin and eventually ended up being discharged. Now, when he was let go, he was trying to find something that he could do. Something had to allow him to make money so that he could feed his habit. This is when he decided to put pen to paper. He tried other things first. He tried pimping, larceny, robbery, and nothing was yielding him the money that he felt he needed, or maybe that it wasn't coming as fast as he wanted it to. So then he decides to write a novel. And the very first novel he wrote, he used a pseudonym. His pseudonym name was Al C. Clark. And the book he published under that pseudonym became the first book in his highly successful series. The name of the book is Crime Partners. This, like I just said, this was the first book in his very successful Kenyatta series. And his type, like, he was labeled as a novelist, and then type of works, they called it urban fiction because of the grittiness and the street crime of it. Unfortunately for Donald, he ended up in and out of prison for the rest of his life. He was in both federal and state prison. Now, once he realized that he could actually make money writing and telling his stories, then that's what he started doing. He was writing with a vengeance. I mean, he was just accelerated, putting books out at an accelerated pace. Now, according to his sister, I think her name is Joan Goines Comey, she said he wrote that way because he needed that money to feed his habit. And as bad as that must have been for him, and all of that, he still had the wherewithal to understand that he really could only rely on himself. And so that's what he did. Now, you will see pictures of Donald, I'm assuming at different ages of his life, but you also see a lot of book titles passing by. Like I said, I haven't read any of them, but my aunt, she read that Dope Fiend, Never Die Alone, I think it's the whole name of it, and she was telling me, you know, how that's just not. She said she enjoyed the book. I said, I don't think I would enjoy hearing all of this. And guess what? One of Donald Goines' favorite authors, novelists, or whatever, was yet another street hustler who went by the name of Iceberg Slim. When I was growing up, one of my favorite, still now, one of my favorite old-time sitcoms was Sanford and Son. And if you are familiar with Sanford and Son, you know, Red Fox played the lead character, Fred Sanford. And I used to, even as an adult with children, whenever I would watch certain episodes, and he would be like, who you think you are, Iceberg Slim? And I'm like, was this somebody for real? Well, now I know that Iceberg Slim really was a real person. And in prison, Donald came across Iceberg Slim's autobiography, Pimp. My goodness. But anyway, he really, really loved the way Iceberg Slim told his story. So, and I used to always wonder, whenever I get around to reading about Donald Goines, I'm wondering if Iceberg Slim is going to be mentioned. And now I see that it was. He really, he admired the way Iceberg told his story. Now, it doesn't sound like Slim had it as easy, I mean, financially speaking, because I tried my best, you all, to read Iceberg Slim's autobiography, but that was just a little too raw and too raggedy for me. All that talking about pus and diseases and gross. So I didn't finish it. But yes, that's what I wanted to say. That I was in the ballpark with my thinking about Donald Goines and Iceberg Slim. Now, I don't know the name. Let's see, what was in that series, the Kenyatta series? I think it was like After Crime Partners. It was Death List. And somewhere Kenyatta escapes, Kenyatta's last hit, whatever. And then The Dope Fiend Never Die Alone. If I read one, that's going to be what it is, because it has come highly recommended by not just my aunt, but a few other people I know who have read it. And let me see, what else can I tell you about Mr. Goines? He was just very, he was gifted. Like so many of our people, we're gifted, but unfortunately, sometimes people's habits get in the way, and it destroys them. Now, he wrote his last book. He completed it in 1974, but it wasn't published or released until 1975. So, that was a posthumous release, because on October 21st, 1974, Donald Goines and his common-law wife were killed. They were shot. They had multiple gunshots. Now, they said they don't know who it was, or why they were killed, but a lot of people seem to think that Donald was actually writing about people he ran with in the streets. And I guess maybe trying to change the names to throw people off, but that is the biggest speculation that people have, is that maybe he offended too many people when he was writing their stories. That's awful. And the name of his last book that he wrote was Inner City Hoodlums. And like I said, that was released after he passed away in 1975 at the age of 37. Well, that's pretty much all I have for Mr. Goines. Sounds like he was a very, I will say this as well. So, October this year, Donald Goines will have been dead for 51 years. But it's people way older than me and way younger than me who read a lot. And a lot of people highly respect his works. They seem to be like, all those years ago, a lot of what he wrote about is still current. And so, yeah, he is still highly revered. He had children, but how many, I don't know. But I read somewhere that the lady who was killed along with him, they did not have any children together, but they both had children from other relationships. And I often wonder sometimes if that is what got in the way. Somebody, we'll never know, really. But with all of that being said about, they know or they speculate that his writings probably played a role in them being killed. But you don't know, you know that it was two people who shot them, but you don't know who they were or why he was killed. I guess we'll never know some things, people. But anyway, like I was saying, this wraps up this About the Author segment. And just tell me Book Connectors, what you think? Have you ever heard of him? If you have you read anything? If you did, what did you think of it? Or would you recommend any of his works? Because I find it very commendable that this man has been deceased all this time. And yet and still, when people go to name books they've read or they have on their reading list, most of the time he's gonna be in there, and it's usually like within the top 3 people. I mean, authors that they want to read. I'll get around to read his book, but I know it won't be no time soon. Right now, I thought that it was very commendable of him also to understand that whatever habit he had, he did not really try to, take from, he did have that little criminal thing going on because he tried pimping and robbing and larceny and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, at whatever age he was, he realized his talent really was in the pen. And he wrote, at the time of his death, he had written 16 books and 15 had been published. And then at the funeral, a relative slipped one of his books in the casket with him. But they said that the book came up missing. Someone stole it. I don't know what that could be about. But anyway, I'm gone for real this time. Book Connectors who are subscribed, thank you so much for being subscribed. I really do appreciate you. And visitors, trust and believe when I say feel free to join us. That's just what I mean. We'd love to have you over here. And people, please don't forget to like, comment respectfully, and share. Most importantly, I think right now would be, aside from subscribing, is to please make sure your notification bells are on so you will get my videos every time I post them. And now, Book Connectors, remember this. As long as there are books around, there is always something to read. Book Connectors, be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your week. And God bless.